So my vision is really that we have a platform around diversity and inclusion, around women's empowerment, around confidence that sports gives women and girls. And I'm a beneficiary of Title IX in sports back in the 70s, and I played in the 70s and 80s, including at college for Muffet McGraw. And so, my vision is really to capitalize on this moment in women's sports, the momentum of the W and this movement in women's empowerment, and take those three things, work on the economics, player experience, and fan experience, and transform the league so that it's a thriving, sustainable business model for the future.
Is the WNBA commissioner's hypocrisy and hatred for Caitlin Clark just getting exposed? The face of the league is getting hacked, shoved, targeted, game after game, and the refs are dead silent. The league is even quieter.
In sport, it's Caitlin and others, Angel Reese, that big rivalry coming out of last year's national championship. So this generational talent, they have big followings on social media, increased media attention with ESPN and ABC, and our asset values are going up. And, we raised that capital about a year and a half ago. First women's sports property raised $75 million in capital. So really just this confluence of all of this coming together. And Caitlin and Paige Beckers on Friday night, and then yesterday with undefeated South Carolina and Iowa. I know one thing coming out of business, Becky, you need three things in sports: household names, rivalries, and games of consequence, and March Madness had.
And if anyone still believes this is just tough love for a rookie, they haven't been watching closely. Because what's happening to Caitlin Clark feels personal. It's targeted, it's excessive. And the most dangerous part is that it's being quietly condoned by the very people who should be stepping in. Please, the fans are watching and they are not deaf, so the backlash is instant, and it all started with one calm, devastating sentence from Candace Parker. In seconds, the spotlight shifted from Caitlin Clark's greatness to Cathy Engelbert's alleged agenda against Caitlin. Now, players are speaking out, fans are demanding change. And at the center of it all is Cathy Engelbert, facing a storm she can't spin her way out of. If you support Caitlin Clark, pause for a second and write "Justice for Caitlin" in the comments. Because we all know, if the WNBA could crown one player as their queen, it would be Caitlin Clark. She's the spark the league didn't know it desperately needed. The numbers prove it, and fans feel it. She led the team to 3 gold medals, snagged the MVP title at the FIBA U19 World Cup, and when she finally landed in the WNBA in 2024, she didn't just play, she made history. Rookie of the Year, first player ever with a double-triple, breaking viewership records, selling out arenas, putting the Indiana Fever and the entire league back on the map. Everywhere she goes, the crowd follows. Every move she makes, the headlines chase. And yet, through all the medals, the records, and once-in-a-generation momentum, it somehow feels like the WNBA's own commissioner can't bring herself to fully acknowledge it. So let's rewind and see what actually happened. Last year, WNBA's commissioner Cathy Engelbert did something that disturbed the fans a little.
But we're really excited for what Caitlin and this really strong rookie class with Cameron Brink and Camila Cardoso and so many others coming in. I've had fun the last couple of days calling them to invite them to Brooklyn for our draft next Monday night. So it's kind of a fun time of year for us.
It all started off pretty neutral. In one interview, Engelbert's tone went flat while mentioning the rookie star Caitlin Clark, most called, No real excitement, no acknowledgement of just how massive Clark's impact had been. And when she was finally asked why the league wasn't going all in on Caitlin, she didn't hype her up. Neither did she show gratitude. Instead, she claimed no league is ever about one player.
The Caitlin Clark phenomenon. How do you describe it?
She's clearly an unbelievable player, came in with an unbelievable following, has brought a lot of new fans to the league. If you look at our historic season around our attendance, our viewership, Caitlin, Angel Reese, Rakia Jackson, Cameron Brink. This class of rookies, we will be talking about them a generation from now.
I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries.
And you can't do that alone as one person.
And just when you thought that was the worst of it, she doubled down, warning that Caitlyn could get injured, as if her greatness came with an expiration date, as if that alone was reason enough to keep the spotlight dim. And then, Caitlyn did get injured. But she came back, because that's what stars do. They rise, even when it hurts. Now fast forward to Engelbert's appearance on the Bill Simmons podcast. There, she finally praised Clark more openly. She called her a generational talent, even said she's the most popular athlete in America in conversations with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
The benefits of that, the returns of that, and then you see, an athlete, a generational athlete like Caitlyn. I analogize it to the Tiger Woods effect in golf.
Yeah.
And just her followership and then the rivalry she came in with against Angel Reese and LSU, Iowa. And now Paige Becker's coming in from UConn off her championship. So, but we had great players for many, for a couple decades. But now I think with social media, with NIL, with them having brands when they come in and followership and just the quality of the game. I can't say enough about that too.
And while her words were finally glowing, the damage was already brewing, because even as she finally gave Clark her flowers, Engelbert couldn't resist tossing in the same old line about balancing the spotlight, promoting A.J. Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, the usual list. And fans didn't hate what she said, they hated the timing of that statement. Because while Engelbert was trying to play diplomat, Caitlyn Clark was literally dragging the WNBA out of irrelevance, practically saving the league.
Started by Atkins. Atkins gets a poke on it. Here's Clark firing and hitting. Here's Clark spinning, bouncing, what a find, and Howard lays it in on a delectable dime from Caitlyn Clark.
But this wasn't just about one awkward quote or one missed opportunity. Then came the jaw dropper, a 2,600-word article in Harvard Business Review, written by Engelbert herself. In the article, she proudly broke down the league's rise, revenue, ratings, expansion. She celebrated the WNBA's momentum. And guess how many times did she mention Caitlyn Clark, wife, in passing? That's right. In a year when Clark was single-handedly responsible for record-breaking ratings, ticket sales, jersey sales, and sponsorships, Engelbert wrote an entire article and barely acknowledged her. To fans, it wasn't just tone-deaf. In fact, it was deliberate.
To be real about this, everybody, Angel Reese hates Caitlyn Clark. All right, I think Angel Reese hates Caitlyn Clark a lot more than Caitlyn Clark hates Angel Reese. We can call it jealousy, we can call it whatever. Now, I don't think Angel Reese is nearly in the same ballpark when it comes to talent as Caitlyn Clark.
And just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, she said that. Live on CNBC's Power Lunch, Kathy Engelbert was asked a serious question about the racism, the hate, the ugly discourse wrapped around the Caitlyn Clark-Angel Reese rivalry. And her response? Oh, it was absolutely ridiculous. She called it a bird magic moment. Home white, one black, she said. And rivalry drives engagement.
Where, I guess, some trash talking entered in. But now it seems on some social media channels to have taken a darker turn, a more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation. Where, not personally, it would seem, but their fan bases are involved in saying some very uncharitable things about the other.
Well, the one thing that's great about the league right now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that bird magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. So
seriously? That's how she addressed racial hostility in the league? By romanticizing it? Players and the WNBA union clearly weren't having it. They blamed the commissioner for failing to explicitly condemn racism and bigotry, for brushing off hate as just passion. That's when Candace Parker entered the picture. And Candace didn't need fireworks to shake the room. She just straight up started dropping truth bombs, very casually.
The first time the NCAA game was on ABC was last year. So in order to give something a chance to succeed, Don't bury it in NFL Sundays. Give it a chance.
Live on ESPN's First Take in front of millions, she sat back, looked ahead, and did something the league desperately needed. She told the truth. No yelling, absolutely no finger-pointing, and no dramatic monologue. Honestly, in that moment, you could feel the shift. Because where Cathy Engelbert had spent months dancing around the truth with carefully polished PR talking points, Parker stepped forward and owned it. She didn't sugarcoat, she didn't hedge, and she didn't tiptoe around the topic like it might bite back. Caitlin Clark's impact with grace, with absolutely no hint of jealousy in her tone. She even spoke about lifting the next generation, the way Cheryl Miller once lifted her.
My job was to leave the game better than I came into it. You think Cheryl Miller is resentful for me that I had a league to play in? No, she's being the mentor that she is, and she's supporting and loving and sitting courtside cheering on Juju Watkins, and I'm doing the same for Caitlin.
And she didn't need to name names. She didn't have to.
You know, I think that rivalry is super important. I think conversation is super important.
Because behind the scenes, that moment sent shockwaves through the league's front offices. One executive reportedly described the fallout as uncomfortably silent. Another called it the loudest truth anyone's spoken in months. The message was crystal clear. While Engelbert is trying to manage Caitlin Clark, Candace Parker is ready to lead her. One sees her as a risk to balance, the other sees her as a responsibility to support. And in just a few sentences, Candace Parker reminded the world what real leadership sounds like. Meanwhile, the numbers spoke for themselves. Caitlin Clark? She practically leads the league in jersey sales, fills every arena she enters, boosted WNBA ratings by almost 50%, draws in more fans than some entire franchises, and she does it without drama, without complaints, without even talking back. She just hoops. Meanwhile, Engelbert calls online hate engagement, brushes off dangerous fouls as competitive spirit, and continues to push a narrative that no one's buying anymore. Sponsors aren't dumb, they know where the money is. One ad buyer told reporters, Candace's comments resonated in a way Engelbert's never have.
Yeah, again, we were in a very different place 3 years ago. I think the quality of the game was there, but the marketing wasn't there. The dollars and everything that it takes to get a national exposure. And I think our broadcast partners like ESPN have stepped up in a huge way. Our marketing partners, our corporate partners, we've done great from a revenue perspective.
Fans say they want leadership, real leadership, not someone rattling off metrics, dodging the moment, or spinning the narrative. Because if this backlash keeps building, it won't just stay on social media. It will hit the WNBA's wallet. And it's not like Parker came out of nowhere. She's not some outsider tossing opinions from the sidelines. She is a 6-time All-Star, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season, a seasoned analyst, a trusted mentor, and a certified legend. She's been the moment before, and now she's shaping the next one. So when Candace speaks, the room doesn't just listen. It learns and follows. Now contrast that with Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner's legacy so far. Well, Cathy talks about balance, she talks about equality, but when it comes to Caitlin Clark, her tone changes. Her praise gets quieter and her words get colder. At this point, we all know Clark's value isn't just financial, it's cultural and historical. And trying to balance that instead of celebrating it, that's not diplomacy, that's denial.
Look, we've been working on this for 4 years to try to build a long-term sustainable economic model to fund it, because that's what you need. And now we feel really comfortable and confident as our stock has gone up and the valuations of all our assets are going up, that now was the time to do it, especially in an Olympic year with a footprint that isn't as broad as we would like because we have to break, but so proud that we're able to do that.
So where do we go from here? Because we know for a fact that this isn't just about poor leadership. It's about a commissioner who seems allergic to giving Caitlin Clark the credit she's earned. Let's be honest. Candace Parker showed us what real leadership looks like. She acknowledged Clark's impact, without jealousy, without spin, without hesitation. Clearly, the WNBA doesn't need more spin. It needs direction. It needs honesty. And right now, that's coming from a retired player and a rookie, and not from the commissioner. So if you think Cathy Engelbert should step down as WNBA's commissioner, write "the WNBA needs a real leader" in the comments. And if you were in her shoes, what would you do differently to protect the league and its stars? We'd love to hear your take. If you made it this far, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more breaking WNBA drama. You won't want to miss what's coming next.